Hello and welcome. Today we're going to dive into a really beautiful piece of writing to unpack something simple but so powerful. How do these ordinary, everyday memories create such a lasting emotional impact on us? We're going to explore how this story builds a world that really stays with you long after you've finished it. So let's jump right in.
So the story kicks off with this line, and right away it just sets the perfect tone. It's not about some huge, famous landmark. It's personal. It's intimate. By saying it's not grand or famous, the narrator is basically letting us in on a secret, a really cherished space, which makes it feel like we're being trusted with a precious memory.
And this is where the setting becomes so much more than just a place. It's a full-on sensory experience. You can almost smell that wet soil and the honeysuckle, right? This isn't just a backdrop for the story, it's a whole atmosphere. And it all goes back to the grandmother's philosophy that gardens really belong to the earth, and we're just lucky guests.
This, right here, this is the heartbeat of the whole memory, the evening ritual. It's such a simple, repeated action, but it anchors the entire experience. It's not a chore, it's an adventure. And that little phrase, "go see what's blooming," it turns a walk into an act of quiet wonder. This ritual becomes the foundation for every single lesson the garden has to teach.
Okay, so from that foundation, we get to the story's first big theme, the language of stillness. This is all about understanding those deep, non-verbal lessons that come from just being present in the natural world. And this is what's so brilliant. It shows you exactly how that language works. It's not some vague idea. It's broken down into these really concrete sensory details. The specific sound of bees humming, the image of a petal unfurling with a sigh, and that profound emotional shift. Loneliness just melting away. The garden teaches by speaking directly to our senses. So, from that wider sense of stillness, the story zooms in on a very specific lesson about patience. This part explores a single, quiet moment that ends up revealing a really deep truth about what trust actually is. And here's that moment, finding a robin's nest. Just look at the details here. The eggs, cool and smooth like river stones, the quiet observation, and then the key moment when the mother bird comes back. The narrator doesn't move, doesn't interfere, they just wait. And in that quiet respect, something amazing happens. The mother bird decides this small human isn't a threat.
And that whole experience with the robin, it sparks this huge realization. Trust isn't something you just get, it's a process. It needs the right conditions, just like a plant. Comparing it to growing lavender with patience and sun, it just makes this big, abstract concept of trust feel so natural, so organic, something you cultivate instead of demand.
Now the story's focus starts to shift a little bit. We move from the quiet observation of early summer to actually getting involved in late summer. This shows the narrator's connection to the garden is getting deeper. They're not just a guest anymore, they're part of its rhythm. This timeline shows that process so beautifully. The harvest isn't just about picking apples, it's a whole ritual of transformation. You can almost feel the scratchy burlap sacks, smell that cinnamon and see the warm glow from the jars. All that patience from the summer is transformed into something real, something you can keep. And this is the moment the grandmother locks that memory in place forever. She explicitly connects a powerful sense, smell, to that deep emotional idea of home. She's teaching the narrator how to build an internal anchor, a sensory trigger that can bring them back to this feeling of belonging anytime, anywhere. This brings us to the final part of the story, and honestly, it might be the most powerful. Here we see the past contrasted with the present, and we explore this incredible idea of how a memory can survive, even when the place it was made in is long gone.
Wow, the contrast here couldn't be more stark, could it? A tired friend versus sharp edges. One is so warm, so organic and full of life. The other is cold, artificial, and empty. This shows us the physical loss, the hard reality that the garden just isn't there in the real world anymore. But is it truly gone?
The story answers that question with a sequence of just 3 simple words. First, kneeling. This isn't a physical action in the present. It's an active memory of internally going back to that posture of reverence, of connection to the soil.
Then, listening. Again, not with the ears, but with the soul. Listening for the hum of those bees, the sigh of the petals, the echo of that stillness that was learned so many years ago. It's an act of deep internal focus.
And it all culminates in this feeling, belonging. The house is gone, the tree is gone, but the feeling the garden gave, that sense of being home, of being part of something bigger, that feeling is still completely there, totally intact.
And so we arrive at the story's beautiful conclusion. The garden isn't a place on a map anymore. It's become an internal landscape, a place inside the narrator that they can visit anytime. It just confirms that the most important places in our lives are the ones we carry right inside of us. And that really brings us to our final thought, doesn't it? This story isn't just about one person's memory. It's an invitation for all of us to think about our own lives. So what is it for you? What's the cherished place, the sensory memory, the feeling of home that you carry with you? What garden never really leaves you?